Shalom, and welcome to What the Watchman Sees, a ministry that will sift through all of the social media noise to show you news of importance from the Most High's perspective. As watchmen, we are here both to warn of dangers and give biblical answers for dwelling in the secret place of the Most High during these times of confusion. Tell your family and friends to like, share, and subscribe as we delve into what Yahweh has for us, the apple of His eye. Let's get to work. Shalom. We're going to continue with our part 2 of Connect the Dots. So go ahead and get your scriptures out. We're going to be looking again at Revelation chapter 12 and Ezekiel chapter 37. So we're going to continue reading. We've already read Revelation chapter 12. We also read Matthew chapter 24, talking about the end times, and Luke chapter 21. There's one other scripture that we have been focusing on, and that is Ezekiel chapter 37. So what we're going to do is read Ezekiel chapter 37, several verses from there. Well, quite a few, actually. Okay, 37, Ezekiel 37, verse 1. The hand of Most High was upon me, and he brought me out by his spirit and set me down in the middle of the valley, and it was full of bones. He led me all around among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, and indeed they were very dry. Then he asked me, Son of man, can these bones come to life? O Lord Most High, I replied, only you know. And he said unto me, Prophesy concerning these bones, and tell them, dry bones, hear the word of Yahuwah. This is what Yahuwah Elohim says to these bones. I will cause breath to enter you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you, and make flesh grow upon you, and cover you with skin. I will put breath within you, so that you will come to life. Then you will know that I am Yahuwah. So I prophesied as I had been commanded, and as I prophesied, there was suddenly a noise. A rattling of the bones came together, bone to bone. As I looked on, the tendons appeared on them, flesh grew and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, Prophesy to the breath, prophesy, Son of man, and tell the breath that this is what Yahuwah says. Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe into these slain so that they may live. So I prophesied as he had commanded me, and the breath entered them, and they came to life, stood on their feet, a vast army. Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Look, they are saying, our bones are dried up, and our hope has perished. We are cut off. Therefore prophesy and tell them that this is what Yahuwah Elohim says. O my people, I will open your graves and bring you up from them, and I will bring you back to the land of Israel. Then you, my people, will know that I am Yahuwah when I open your graves, bring you up from them. I will put my spirit in you, and you will live, and I will settle you in your own land. Then you will know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken and will do it, declares Yahuwah. I'm going to stop there. We're going to talk about this as it relates to the connecting of the dots during these times of the end. It's important for us to start trying to connect the dots. And as we connect those dots, as we draw lines from one thing to another, what appears is this picture that is being painted, or that has been painted. And part of that is in Matthew chapter 24 and Luke chapter 21, where the Messiah told his disciples that in the last days, there would be wars, rumors of wars. Nation would be against nation. Kingdom would be against kingdom. Wickedness would multiply. False messiahs. And by the way, Messiah is really a political term. It's a ruler. So not just a religious ruler, but also a political ruler. But in any case, false messiahs would be manifesting themselves. The nation would be under attack. This is what Yeshua was telling his followers. Many would try to deceive people. And after all of this, then there would be signs in the heavens announcing the coming of the Son of Man, announcing his return. For it will come upon all who dwell on the face of the earth. So the picture is that his people should be keeping watch at all times, praying that we would have the strength to escape during these times and to escape all that is about to happen, and therefore to be able to stand in safety before the Son of Man. This also is related to Revelation chapter 12, talking about the woman with the 12 stars, with the sun at her head, the moon at her feet, and the 12 stars over her. That's in Revelation chapter 12. It says, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and with the moon. And so that sign actually happened a couple of years ago. And then it also talked about the sign of a dragon that was seen in the atmosphere, and how that dragon had 7 heads and 10 horns. So these things are also part of the picture that is being portrayed with all these individual dots. And so the whole thing obviously is about the coming of the Messiah, which is what this presentation is focusing on, but it's also about what has to happen before the Messiah actually returns. And one of the things that is to happen is the Most High's people are going to be manifested too. So again, this dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns represents the full force of evil that Yeshua, our Messiah, has already said is going to come against his people. And that woman we know to be the children or the nation of Israel that produced the Messiah. That's what that sign in Revelation chapter 12 is all about. Okay, so that happened in 2017. In 2019, more prophetic things happened. And then, of course, in this, a lot of people don't realize how important what just happened is and how prophetic what just happened actually is. When those 2 young men, and I'll still call them young men, made the comments that they made, and the firestorm that happened as a result of that, it did something to the people who were beginning to awaken in 2015 when these messages were first showing up in and on social media. But so what has been happening is that since that time, whereas maybe a couple of thousand people knew this message or were listening to this message or at least were hearing it, now potentially millions of people are hearing it. And so this message is a message of and about the Most High's people. And the message is saying, here is who you are. So that message that is being given is a part of the dots that are being connected. And it's interesting that the connecting of the dots is actually happening from people who don't want this picture seen. And that shows us that the Most High's will supersedes anything that human beings can or will do. As we quoted from Matthew chapter 24 and Luke chapter 21, one of the signs of the coming of the Son of Man is that his people are going to be in tribulation. See, this is the part that you don't hear in this country. Tribulation simply means a tight place. It means anguish. It means distress. It means something that is imposed on an individual or a people group by an enemy. That's what tribulation is. Now, there is a great tribulation, but the Most High's people have been under tribulation ever since we were scattered from the land. There's no place on the planet that the Most High's people have gone that they can find rest. Okay, so here's what's on the horizon. This is what the dots, once they're connected, this is the picture that is being painted. We're living in a time now where people must declare whether or not they actually believe there is a God, whether they believe in that God, and they also must actually declare who they are in relationship to that God. They are either going to declare their goodness or they're going to declare their sinfulness and the evil heart that they have. That's what we're experiencing now. That's what happened in these last couple of weeks. The evil that is in people's hearts has been identified. They identified it. The Most High's people really didn't even know what they had done. This is the breathing into the dry bones. But it was his doing. And those who have been his enemy from the garden, because see, we're not talking about flesh and blood. I forgot to mention that. This is talking about Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 says, "Finally, my brothers, be strong in Yahuwah, in the Lord, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we're not wrestling against flesh and blood." Flesh and blood is human being. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Now, that spiritual wickedness in high places is the same spiritual wickedness that confronted Yeshua, our Savior, Jesus, in the wilderness when he went on that 40-day fast. He was out in the wilderness 40 days, and at the end of that fast, Satan comes to him to tempt him. That's who the scriptures are talking about. That's who is the wicked in high places. Because Satan told Yeshua, if you fall down and worship me, I'll give you any of these kingdoms that you want, because they belong to me. So what kingdoms belonged to him at that point? Rome. What kingdoms belonged to him before Rome? Greece. What kingdoms belonged to him before Greece? Assyria. What kingdoms belonged to him before Assyria? Babylon. What kingdoms belonged to him before Babylon? Egypt. Regardless of who's in charge of these kingdoms, what kingdom is in the position of the ruler of the world as we speak? The United States of America. How did the United States of America get to that point? The revived Roman Empire, the European Union. Who do they all belong to? They all belong to Satan, the serpent, all of them. That's the mystery of Babylon that the scriptures talk about. So, as the scriptures say, when we stand against Satan, don't be so concerned about the individuals that Satan is using. They belong to him, unless they declare they belong to the Most High. But this is the time when that declaration must be made. So if you're not a part of the Most High's kingdom, you're going to have to say that. And I'm talking to people who have been hiding behind the fact that they are the children of the Most High. If you are, then you know who I am, and you know who my people are. So that is what time it is. Wickedness, as this next point says, is running rampant in the streets. That's not by accident either. But don't blame the young men and the young women, or even the middle-aged people. Blame the principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world that have created this hell on earth. That's why the Most High must come back to straighten this mess out. So what are his people supposed to be doing? We need to first understand and come to grips with the fact that all people groups despise us. We don't have any friends, but that's okay because the Most High needed that to happen. See, we're dead. We're a dead people. Nobody wants to be around death. So the Most High had to let us know you can't look anywhere. You can't look on the right. You can't look on the left. You can't look to the north. You can't look to the south. You can't look to the east or the west. They all hate you. But what you can do is look to the hills from whence comes your help. Your help comes from Yahuwah Most High. He wants his people to look to him. And when we do that, then he can, as he breathes the breath of life into us, he tells us the part of the breath of life is to tell us you must separate yourselves from this Babylonian system in every aspect. And that this is the time, while all the rest of the world is in turmoil, I want you working on preparing yourselves for my return. Well, how do you do that? You need to learn how to live and love together. I already know that you hate yourselves. You need to learn to love yourselves and to support yourselves, support your families, teach your own children. Do not give your children to your enemies to teach. Protect yourselves. There's a famine coming on the land. Everybody knows it's coming, but because your enemy hasn't told you to get ready, you're not getting ready. You need to get ready. That's part of the life that the Most High is breathing into his people. Finally, look for people who don't have to be told these things. And if the people that you do tell don't want to hear it, keep moving, because there are other people now who do. And just like there were just a handful before this last couple of weeks, and now there are millions with many questions, who's going to answer those questions? That's our job. So we can't be tired. We can't be overrun. We have to be on post. And all of this is for us to understand that the Most High alone is our salvation. Salvation is not just from sin, although that is extremely important. Salvation is also from the wrath that is coming on the earth. As we speak, it is coming on the earth. So that's the message that the Most High has for his people. Those are the dots that need to be connected so that we can see the picture that he has painted for us, his children. And it's summarized in Matthew in the 5th chapter. Yeshua says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Let your light so shine that others may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." We've got a job. We have an assignment. We have a loving Father who has breathed the breath of life into us. It is time for Yasharel to take your rightful place on the earth. Shalom.